Hi, welcome to Professor Kev Show. Got my buddy Daniel with us he's the founder of Fortune Avenue. Daniel, good afternoon. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Good afternoon, Professor.
So thanks for taking the time. Before we talk about Fortune Avenue, just tell us a little bit about yourself so we get to know you.
My name is Daniel Idemudia. I'm a rising senior at Boston Latin Academy, 17 years old. And when you ask me that question, like, what do you want to know? What should I share about myself?
So tell me a little bit, what are your interests? What are you into, man?
Yeah, I like going on runs with my friends. I like occasionally like programming, and I play Minecraft. Yes.
That's good. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about Fortune Avenue. Why did you start this? What need did you see, my friend?
Yeah, the need for Fortune Avenue stems from my personal relationship with financial literacy and money. My family immigrated here in 2013, and like a huge part of the hardships we faced while immigrating to America is a lack of financial understanding. And that not only affects us, but it also affects so many other people, especially from um historically disadvantaged communities. So I think it was last year when I had an internship at State Street. I walked onto the floor, I looked to my left, I looked to my right, and there was a need for representation. So it was that alongside the need for financial education that inspired me to start Fortune Avenue. The personal need to address the issues that my family and my peers faced.
So when we spoke before the show, you told me there's kind of two pieces to this. So why don't you describe each of the pieces and how they work?
Yeah, Fortune Avenue, our goal is to bridge in whatever way we can socioeconomic inequities. We just look through two main segments, one of which is our educational initiatives, which is where we're working to educate young people about personal financial literacy. And another key component of our programming is our workforce development program, which sort of is what facilitates our expansion, but also what supports us in helping students gain skills that they can use in the workforce.
I really like that piece because again, a lot of times just trying to get that opportunities and even knowing they're out there, Daniel, where sometimes it's easy to go, well, I mean, they're not going to hire me because I don't have this type of experience. It's
Exactly.
thing. So now when you're doing financial literacy, you're doing those events in person to help people.
Yeah, as of right now, all of our events are held in person, but we are looking at expansion in a few months from now into online. But right now, our educational initiatives are four. We have our summer program, our school year program, our community workshops, and then our online/media programming. I can speak to them. I'll start with summer programming. This past summer, we launched a 5-week course for students in the greater Boston area. It was held at Emmanuel College, and we partnered with the Boston Public Schools Department of Student Support to fund the program. And through that, we were able to bring on what we hoped for 30 students, but attendance varied. One week we had 15, another week we had 25. But over the course of those 5 weeks, students learned about personal financial literacy, like how do I manage a budget? They also learned about the basics of investing in niche terms like, not niche, but terms like um the like price to earnings ratio and how that relates to whether or not you should invest in a company. They learned about safer investments that automatically diversify their portfolio, like for example, a mutual fund, or how it's really hard to beat the market. So you should look for funds that track the S&P 500 instead of trying to like pick out individual stocks. Then another week we went over career exposure. So we through a game we exposed them to careers like private equity, marketing, litigation, and consultancy, and how um those key roles, especially marketing, consultancy, and litigation, are involved with like almost every single industry. Another week we focused on like, career development, less so than exposure. So that was helping them set up a LinkedIn and a resume, taking them through key components of that as well. All of our workshops are structured as so. We have a mini lesson that ranges between 7 to 12 minutes, but the rest of the hour and a half that we're there, it's spent talking and walking around in a game that we have, because that's how kids learn. It's modeled after what I think would be engaging, and the feedback that we get is that it's working. Um, starting in week two, I'm a really competitive person. What about you, Professor Kev?
A little bit.
But yeah, a little bit fair. A lot of kids around my age are pretty competitive. So I was like, what better way than to give students hands-on learning than to engage them in a competition? So we used Investopedia's platform and launched a paper trading competition. We set the settings to we set the settings to $10,000 per user, and then we brought them onto the platform. And we were like, the top five winners gets $100 each. And then that's what we did. So we bring them on, and then they got to use what we had just taught them about investing in their own outside knowledge, paper trade this $10,000. And the winner would get $100 to start off their own investment journey.
Nice.
Luckily, we were able to get a sponsor who entered one of the sessions and was like, $100 isn't enough. The first place winner gets $500. So we were able to do that. And first place winner, his name is David Wang. I think his portfolio saw a return of about like 12% across the 4 weeks, which is solid. He
Yeah.
also had some prior investing knowledge. And that game. I really, really enjoyed that game because there was one student who was super seasoned. His dad's student pursuing his MBA at MIT, and his dad like fully immersed him in what investing is. So I had my hopes. I was like, "You're probably gonna win." But he needed $100 to pay his dad back for something. So because of that, he was a lot more risky with his investments,
Yeah.
which proved our risk to reward. It proved the risk to reward ratio.
Cool.
He had a need for money, but his risk tolerance was super high as a result, and because of that, like he didn't win. I think he took the $10,000 and turned it into like $8,000 because of that risk.
Yeah.
And then I also at the start of the Investopedia competition, I also used the Fortune Avenue account, and we spent our $10,000 on I think SPY. It's that tracks the S&P to
Yep.
prove the point that it is really hard to time the market. And I think we placed third, which was the fun lesson for them. Like buy a mutual fund. You can't beat the market. But yeah, that was our summer program.
I
And then
really liked what you said, Daniel, because I have students that invest in derivatives, and as you know, they're very risky. And one student just
yeah,
kept like, Cav, I'm crushing it. Then he came in one day, he goes, and to your point, he's like, Cav, I got super greedy and I lost.
exactly. So
And
it's like, yeah,
that's
potential to
really,
earn is high, but
yeah.
as a result, yeah.
So tell me about
That
the next
was Yeah. So at the end of each session, we would take in feedback about how we did, how we can make it better, how we can make it engaging. So we have that data after the summer program ended, which was about like 3 weeks ago. We've been taking that data and analyzing it and refining that and using the data to refine our current curriculum. We're not yet complete with that. But that's what we're currently doing. We're revising our curriculum, and then we're transferring the revised curriculum into a model that works with the school year program. Um, I want to touch as many people as possible while also maintaining the quality of the workshop. How do I touch as many people as possible? By expanding and not being the sole facilitator. So for the school year program, we're actually going to work with partner schools, partner high schools, and partner colleges. So we have a few high schools looking to work with us. Um, one of which we're actually going to embed the Fortune Avenue program into their school day, which is pretty exciting. And then that curriculum that the schools use is going to be facilitated by college students at the surrounding universities.
nice.
And that's really exciting. We were doing a lot of outreach with clubs themselves, like, for example, the Northeastern Black Business Association. They feel pretty good about working with us and sending over some of their members on a weekly basis to support the programming. We also just reached out to the Northeastern Volunteering Organization, and they're going to advertise and help us get volunteers as well. They also referred us to 10 other organizations within Northeastern that we're not going to reach out to.
Wow.
I'll touch upon this later, but we expanded the team, so we're now 13 people, and we have a few people doing outreach to other organizations to help populate the amount of college students we have. But they're going to be from different backgrounds, and they're also going to be tailored around the school that we're working with. Like for example, there's a school in Boston called Boston Arts Academy, and they're specialized around the arts. Have you watched the show Victorious?
Yeah.
Oh, hey. Yeah, Boston Arts Academy is essentially Victorious in real life, which is so, so cool. But we're looking at bringing on like for one of the undergraduate mentors could be like an art students to really connect with the students at BAA and make sure that we're enticing those students and making it as engaging as possible. But that's the school year program. It's going to be 5 weeks of instruction. We're actually splitting up the in the summer's program, we combined resume and LinkedIn, but turns out you can't fit a resume in a LinkedIn session in a short period of time. So we split that off into 2 weeks to give it adequate time. And then the program is going to conclude with a event in which we bring all the students from the different pilot high schools. We'd also bring in all the undergraduate mentors, all the Fortune 500 key volunteers, and then hopefully some like business professionals, maybe even you if you're down, to come in, chat with the students and network. That's the school year program.
So
Um,
you have another program you want to talk about?
Yeah, we have community workshops and then our online programming. The community workshops is simple. The if you're an organization that services young people, reach out to us. We'll hop on Zoom and we'll talk about what makes sense for the people that you serve. Boston City Councilor at Large, Henry Santana, we worked out a partnership where we taught about 20 total students about like budgeting. He brought on 20 interns, 15, and I think like 14 or 15 of them were around sophomore aged. So this was their first job. As a result, they were getting paid money, but they didn't know what to do with that money. So we came in, we broke down what budgeting is, why you should budget, and why putting money aside makes sense even if you're young.
Yes.
And then for the activity, we had like I said, it's customized. If you're working at a city councilor's office, chances are you may be interested in a role in government. So for the activity, we had 5 different occupations with different salaries listed, and the salaries and occupations were modeled after a career in government. So that was just a fun workshop we did there. We're also currently planning a workshop for middle school students at an Andover Youth Center. Um, it's called Robux Riches, and I'm going to be teaching them about investing and budgeting using Robux, which is going to be really fun to create. Um, in the future, aside from that, we're also thinking about planning like a clothes drive, things like that, where it doesn't necessarily pertain to personal financial literacy, but it does support the community and does support our goal of helping bridge certain gaps and provide resources to those who are economically disadvantaged. And then online/media programming, that category we're going to especially hone in on in the coming months as soon as we get the more pressing matters like our school year program off the ground. That's going to be things like a monthly podcast episode. And it's going to be things like filming informational reels, like short form content that we post on Instagram and TikTok to break down concepts. I've had so many people come up to me and say, Danny, how do I invest? And it feels good to help all of them. Um, and I'd love to continue that on a more wide scale by providing educational resources to post online. It's also things like posting infographics on Instagram. One of the people who I'm working with just developed a infographic about credit, and like in a very detailed, organized fashion. It breaks down what's credit. A lot of students call credit debit, and they like those two are not interchangeable whatsoever. And the post breaks that down. Those are our educational initiatives.
All right. So what's the best way for people to reach out to you? How can they learn more? How can they get involved?
Yeah, I'm available on LinkedIn. Daniel Idemudia is my name. And then we also have a website, fortuneavenue.org, FORTUNEAVENUE, avenue.org. I think I
Awesome.
spelled that right. I
Yeah,
hope I spelled that right.
cool.
Yeah,
I appreciate you taking a few minutes to call on the show. And as always, thanks for being
yeah.
with
Thank you so much.